angel on my windowsill, but it's so dark inside. I throw the windows wide. I know, la 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 la. I know, la 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 la. Still I don't let go. And fancy flowers grow. Oh, it feels like I'm falling in love, maybe for the first time. Baby, it's my mind. You blow, it feels like.
Good morning, everyone. So good to see your faces. Please put your camera on if you're not on, because we'd love to see you. It's always so much better when we can all be together as a community here. Please write in the chat where you're calling in from today. We'd love to know where you are geographically. Oroville, yay, I love that place. Idaho, amazing. Rhode Island. Welcome, Dounia. So good to see you on here. Beautiful. All right. Well, welcome again for your Hylo community call. This is the August edition. For those of you who've never been here, we gather every month. And this is a space where we come together, meet one another, and learn how we can support each other as community organizers, but also as members of communities on Hylo. But before we get started, I'd love to pass it on to Claire just for a brief welcome, and then we'll do a brief breakout room before we come back together as a group. Claire.
Cool. Okay. Hey, everybody. My name is Claire. I'm the director of product for Hylo. And for folks who might be new-ish to Hylo, it is an open source, nonprofit, tech commons community platform for purpose-driven groups and for place-based groups. And we put Hylo out in the world. Our team of maintainers, Tibet is on the team, Yasmin is on the team. And we put Hylo out in the world to support groups that are working on creating a flourishing future for all life. And that is what so many of you in this room are also working on in your own amazing ways. Our community is awesome, and there's so many incredible groups on Hylo. And so we're here to serve you and to listen to what you need to do your work. That's a lot of what we spend our time on, and part of why we love to have calls where we get to meet you and hear from you. And just to share a little bit about what our team is up to on the product side, we are in the process of our redesign collabathon, which means that we're taking a minute to just kind of analyze every part of the app, both Hylo web and Hylo mobile, and just really think about, like, how could we make this easier to use, more joyful, more fit to the purpose of purpose-driven groups. So we're just really taking an analytical approach to that right now to try to just identify any ways we can be improving the platform. And we're in the product phase of that. So just thinking about that, thinking about how the functionality can be better, what can we change, what can we simplify, and just working towards an experience that has greater usability, a better mobile experience, better onboarding experience, making it easier to connect with content or groups or people on the platform that are meant for you to find them and be a part of. And yeah, just making sure that Hylo is the best possible platform it can be for purpose-driven groups and place-based groups. So it's kind of a journey that we're on, but I think soon we'll be able to share more about the ideas that are coming out of this phase and some early designs. And we're going to be sharing that with the community for input. as always, and that will be shared in our Building Hylo community. So if you're not already a part of the Building Hylo space on Hylo, everyone's invited. And that's where our whole open source community of over 600 people participates and gives their input into Building Hylo. And we've already had a bunch of calls with the community to gather requirements and ideas about the redesign. So now we're in that synthesis phase, and we'll be sharing out again soon before we like dive all the way into executing it. Yeah. And there's a blog post about this for anyone that wants to learn more. I can drop that in the chat in a minute. Do I have time to take a question, Yasmin?
Absolutely, yes. And I
Okay,
just
because
put the blog post in the
oh,
chat.
perfect. Perfect. I saw a question for Faizan. What core assumptions of the team have already been challenged as a learning journey, or maybe as a part of the journey, for revamping the platform? Okay, so yeah, if I'm getting that question right, it's like what have we already learned that we're taking into this? I think just that. So Hylo is very customizable, and there's a lot of different features that can be used. And I think one thing we've learned is that that can be a little much at times, especially for new groups or new people on Hylo. And one of the big things we're thinking about is actually like, how can we simplify the experience, especially at the beginning? And we might actually be like removing things from the interface at the beginning of the experience and then adding more complexity as a member progresses in their journey on Hylo and as a group progresses in their journey. Not like removing any abilities, but just cleaning up the interface and making things a little simpler. And we're trying to figure out how to make it easier to navigate around the app and easier to discover like the whole universe on Hylo. Because as many of you know, Hylo isn't just your one group that you might be a part of. Hylo is hundreds of groups, and they can all be connected to each other if they want to be. They can be whole ecosystems, and people can navigate those ecosystems and join all the groups they find that are exciting. But it's not always easy to discover that ecosystem. So that's one thing we've heard and that we're thinking about how to improve that. But I could talk all day about this. I think we'll probably have more redesign calls for sure. And whenever we have one coming up, we are posting them in Building Hylo. And the way that works is we just have our whole product team and anyone can join. And we'll just be talking about a specific topic in the redesign. And anyone that wants to dive in and give their input is totally welcome. So we've had a bunch of calls like that where folks from Building Hylo and from our community have joined to weigh in. And it's been extremely amazing and enriching. So that's just something that's available in the future to look out for.
Thank you, Claire. One of the other amazing things about Hylo is the community, and that means all of you. So we're going to take about 6 minutes, 3 minutes each. I'm going to do a breakout room. And my invitation today is to share highs and lows as a way to get to know each other. We'll do another breakout room later where we get to talk more about our communities and some of the things that you are working on. But this is really about deepening your connection with each other and hopefully meeting someone new and amazing and making a new friend. So I'm gonna send you off to all of your rooms, and I will see you back in 6 minutes. Highs and lows, go. Got it.
Of two people, there's a spark between. One gets torn apart, one gets a broken heart. I know, la 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 la. I know.
Welcome back, everyone. Yay. In case you were wondering, that is Coldplay playing their new song. I hope you had a lovely conversation with your new friend, new Hylo friend. I'd love to hear actually in the chat. We'll take about maybe 30 seconds. Why are you here? I'd love to hear why are you on this call? What brings you to the Hylo community? And my invitation is not to post until I do a countdown. So take 30 seconds to write it down in the chat. Why are you here? What brings you to the Hylo community today? And we will continue on. All right, 30 seconds. Yes, and if you're not speaking, maybe mute yourself so that we can, that would be great. Yay, to keep flourishing, great. All right, we'll wait another 10 seconds. Okay, go. All right, why are you here? So many beautiful responses to learn about where Hylo is at, where everyone is, priority-wise, cool. Learn about the community, share about ProSocial world, the Hylo tool, and it's okay, cool, awesome, yay. Well, with that, I have the absolute pleasure and honor to welcome Dounia, who is here with us from ProSocial. The one thing that we both have in common is we're both Moroccan, so you can imagine the immediate connection that was formed there. But ProSocial is this incredible community that is using Hylo, but also Dounia will share more about their mission and vision. So my first question to you, Dounia, is how did you get involved with ProSocial? And what is most exciting right now in the ProSocial world?
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Yasmin. It's so nice to be here. How did I get involved with ProSocial World? So ProSocial World's mission is to consciously evolve a world that works for all. No small feat. And I was very curious about it because as a renegade economist, the work of Lynn Ostrom, the only woman to ever have won the Nobel Prize in economics, and basically going against this idea of the tragedy of the commons was very interesting to me. And to be able, our co-founder, David Sloan Wilson, generalized these principles to apply it in different contexts, and then the layer of contextual behavioral science that Paul Atkins and others bring, which I was just very curious about. What does it look like in the world to live according to these principles? So that was back in early 2021. I took the facilitator training, and then when I saw the opportunity to join the team, I'm like, that's how I'm gonna actually take my deep dive. And so it's been 2 years now that I'm the community steward there, and there are many things that are exciting. And I still think that for me, the most interesting part is we have these pillars in contextual behavioral science and in evolutionary science, but I'm still curious, how do we embody the core design principles? How do we have these groups that become community, not just groups, where you have trust and belonging and you evolve together. And I love now looking at the core design principles as what's my current state, as something that's always shifting and that can look so many ways. So what's exciting to me is to have a community of practice and to see how it's applied all over the world. ProSocial world, the mission resonates with amazing people from all over the world. So I would say that's what's most exciting. And for a long time, part of it was that I thought I went through the facilitator training, but then there's also the magazine, this view of life that has more of the evolutionary perspective. And there's all these little islands that are a bit siloed. And I'm like, okay, my work is to connect them. And I think that this fall is very exciting. If you're not on our mailing list, I highly recommend it because I think that there are many things that are finally falling in place. And so what's most exciting is having these more open calls, and hopefully that will just accelerate how much impact and learning. I think everyone that has been engaged, even though it has been easy, are very ready to move to action, which is another really exciting part for me. So yeah.
I love that. Dounia, walk us back, like what is the backstory on how Hylo and ProSocial came together? Like what's the initial connection? Do you happen to know?
I have some inkling, but I think Claire would probably be the best person to answer. I just got into ProSocial world and it was just like, this is like we're in it together. It was a non-negotiable commitment to growing and evolving together, which I thought was very, very beautiful. And I'm actually curious to have the details. Claire, maybe you want to jump in and shed some light, and I can learn as well.
Sure, yeah. I mean, I was following the ProSocial team before they even published the book. They wrote an amazing book called ProSocial. Everyone here should read it. And then actually Paul, I don't know how he found Hylo, but he reached out to us through the platform. And so we connected. Paul Atkins is one of the founders and authors of the book. And we just connected and started a conversation, and just from our team to the ProSocial team, there was just so much alignment. And then when the book came out, we just devoured that and integrated it into our work. And then everyone on our team has taken the ProSocial facilitator training, except for Yasmin, but she's about to. And it really just informs so much about how we design every aspect of the platform and how we manage our team internally and how we approach the world. It just really resonates super deeply with us. And so we've always just been completely committed to the ProSocial team and to y'all's work in the world.
I'll add one more little bit, which I was just looking back through my emails, and we got a connection to Paul and Jeff ProSocial in March 2020, which was literally when we took over Hylo. It was like the very, very beginning of us starting to work on Hylo through Galen Myers and the Global Regeneration Collab. And so we've been chatting with the ProSocial folks for a long time, and it's been a beautiful journey. And really, really excited to see where we can go together.
I love that. And before I go back to you, Dounia, actually, we have Susan here, who's from the other communities that I'm stewarding called Hylo Movement. And we're about to go through this training, the ProSocial training as well in September, I believe. So it's amazing to see how these different worlds are kind of like going through a similar journey of learning the principles and the technology part, the community stewardship parts, and so there's so much that we can learn from one another in terms of resources and trainings and know-hows and how we build a better world that works for everyone on this planet. So Susan, if you want to share a few words about that, wonderful.
Yeah, Dounia, you just touched my heart about being a rebel economist. Me too. And there are other people on this call, I'm sure, are too. And I remember crying with joy when I first saw the 8 steps that Eleanor Ostrom put together to keep communities together, to make things actually functional long-term. It's beautiful. And we are so thrilled to have Jeff Janung be our interplay between ProSocial and the Hylo movement for us. I think we're going to get radically stronger as a team to go through the steps of the ProSocial learning process. And I'm so thrilled to hear all of you have been through the facilitator training. So this is really good. ProSocial has a basis for skill sets that actually keep us functional as we strive to live our purpose, right? And I highly recommend everybody connecting with it. And maybe we could even offer a program on it within our network. We can see. But thank you very much.
Is
Thank
it
you.
possible to ask a question about it?
Yes.
Just wondering, how do you, because I'm a bit sort of don't quite understand, how do you connect with the outer world? And I'm wondering whether you have any links with, for example, the Global Eco Village Network or any of these networks that are, you know, sort of trying to change things, you know, on a practical level.
Yeah. So I shared the website on the chat, and if you go to the community page, we usually start with a 15-minute connection call and then onboard you onto our Hylo page, and then there's in September monthly community connection calls starting, and then on-demand case clinics. So people who've gone through the training might bring a case of how they're wrestling with implementing or just demonstrating how they're doing it. And then there's a bit of a peer coaches that ask questions and reflect on what they're hearing. So those are kind of our most basic engagements that are open to all. And then there's, of course, the trainings. So I believe the whole movement is going through the ProSocial Action Lab, which is designed for groups. And then there's the Becoming ProSocial, which is a intro course that's cohort based. There's the next one is in October. And then there's the Leading ProSocial, which is the evolution of the facilitation training that the core team of Hylo took, and that's more of really geared toward the facilitation aspects more so than being introduced to the framework. Did that answer your question?
Well, I'm just wondering, yeah, well, I'm just wondering, do you have, the real thing is, do you have connection with, you know, other groups outside? In other words, do you interact with, as I give one example, the Global Eco Village Network, for example? I'm just putting this out. I don't know whether you've even heard of them, but, you know, whether
Yes.
you link in with, say, like the biodiversity networks around the world, or, you know, climate change groups, or, you know, anything like that. Is that part of your work? I don't know. I'm just asking.
Yes, no, absolutely. And this is very much an area of improvement that we're working on, because our people who've gone through our training are part of the global eco village network. I'm thinking of his name is completely escaping my mind, which is fine.
Hylo.
Hylo, of course. Thank you. Hylo, where are you in my head? And there are definitely part of the communities, there's so much just that's already there, but it's dormant in the soil. And it's like, okay, we need to it's time for all of it to grow and connect. And so, yes, we need more of that. And that's something that even the core team, even the operationals, people are like, oh, yeah, we're part of a movement. I'm like, yeah, it's a movement. And so I think that there is like the looking out, that you're putting your finger right on the place that is there, but is longing for more attention. So yeah, we're hosting.
Like, for example, you're from Morocco. I mean, you know, would you have any contact with the sort of semi-nomadic people like the Berbers, you know, and their life, that type of
the food sovereignty movement I'm connected with, and then there are definitely so many groups. Sociocracy for All is another big one that's actually very close to ProSocial World, and we're hosting a pro-sociocracy conversation with Ted Rao and Paul this month of September. So to start more collaboration. Then there's the Agrarian Trust and the Agrarian Commons, with whom we work very closely. And so there are some projects, or there are different Buddhist lineages that we're helping connect. So definitely there is already projects with which we're working, but it's just part of what I was hearing, and perhaps I'm projecting, is how do we do that more? And I think that that's something that definitely requires more attention. And if you have ideas, I would love to talk more about that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for your Wonderful question. Dounia, I have one more question before we go into breakout room and have a chance to really talk more about our communities and some of the needs. We'll go through like a brief ripple effect where we ask and give or receive and share what we're grateful for. Dounia, what are some ways that that ProSocial or you are using Hylo? What are some of the like your favorite things about it, your least favorite things about it? Walk us through, that journey for you.
Thank you. We definitely use it as a redundancy, like whatever we put out in different channels, we make sure that we put on Hylo too as yet another avenue. We have one community group, the ProSocial Commons, that shares a lot of resources. But what I've noticed is everyone always posts as a discussion, and we're less, I think our learning edge is how do we actually use the project post, and how do we actually use the different, like the requests and offers, and how do we distinguish the two? So that it feels like there's so much more potential that we're not using as much. We definitely use the event and discussion are basically what we use the most. And I'm also very curious about that ecosystem level that you were talking about. There's an overlap with whole movement, for example, and how is it that we connect with other groups more consciously and see the whole movement, as we say, or connect with the other groups. So that's more like, oh, I want to learn more about that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about you, but I'm ready for a little social experiment, all of us. I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to actually create a post on Hylo inside the community organizers group as a resource, which is how we're going to do this next exercise. So, all right, let's see. There we go. So on the Hylo community organizers, which basically is a community of, I believe, 107 people. So you have the ability to create a post. And as you know, or Claire mentioned, there's a new feature, which is proposals, which is really fun because you could do a poll, you could just engage, do voting system, do different ways to engage with your community. I've been playing with it and I've gotten some really great feedback inside the Building Hylo community, which is more of you're also welcome to join that group. And it's essentially people who are on the journey with us to build Hylo. And so for today, I just created a post called the Give, Ask, and Gratitude. So what we're going to do is go inside breakout rooms. And I want you to share, I'm going to actually post the link here in the chat. And what I want you to do is take a moment first before you share, like maybe a minute or so, think about your ask and your give. And that could be something related to the community that you're a part of, a need that you have inside your community. I know I've talked to Nathan, who mentioned he's living in Western Massachusetts in an eco-village. So really curious to hear like what are some of the challenges, the needs there, and see what we can like help each other with, because we all have a unique lens and perspective and expertise in whatever we do. And your ask might be someone's give, and someone's give might be someone's ask. And that's where the magic happens. And so, all right, so let's go into breakout rooms. We'll spend about 15 minutes. And after you post it as a comment, that way, those who you were not with in the group, we can go after the call and continue to comment and help each other. And then share as a group together. So is that clear? I feel like I've said a lot of things, but I just want to make sure that my instructions are understood. Thumbs up.
I'll recap.
Great.
So in our breakout rooms, we're going to share our requests and offers with each other. So like, what do you need? What do you have to share? And then we're going to post those in a comment on the post that you just made. And the link to that post is in the chat.
Perfect.
And if you're not already part of the community organizers group, the link to join is right above that. But if it's too much trouble to get onto Hylo, you're not already there, then just put your thing in the chat.
Perfect.
Cool.
All right, the rooms are officially open. We'll see you back in 15 minutes and enjoy.
Yasmin, I don't see the option to join a breakout room, by the way.
Oh, let me move you to a room.
I don't think I have that either.
Perfect. I will take care of that.
I also.
All right. Jason, I see that you're in room 4. Okay, perfect. And Todd, yeah. Yusuf, are you there?
Yasmin, I accidentally exited my group, but I guess that's
Oh,
okay.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
That's okay. My fault.
Oh, were we not supposed to? I thought we were supposed to end our conversation.
No, I actually did close the room, so people will be
Oh,
back in 30
I mean,
seconds.
just while I'm on, does anybody know the dates for the Asheville conference?
Which one?
The one, you know, like the next Ibiza type of thing.
Oh, the next Hollow Movement
Yeah,
conference?
yeah,
Oh no, that's not until next year. We
yeah.
don't
I
have
know,
the
but do you happen to know the dates? No. Okay.
not yet. Welcome back. Yay. I hope you had a great exchange. I would love to hear from maybe some of you. What was discussed? What did you learn? What was maybe an insight or an aha moment, something that you're gonna take with you after this call? And you could just maybe raise your hand and then we can go through a few shares. And don't be shy. I'd love to hear from you. Now is your moment. You have 30 people or just
Well, I'll just say it was a pleasure to meet David Henke for the first time in person on Zoom. I've been following David's work in bioregionalism for many years, and excited to kind of continue that work and work on Hylo becoming the home for bioregional coordination.
Yes.
Thank you, Tibet. Who's
I
next?
can share. So I didn't get a chance to vocalize this in my group, and I was preparing to post the same, and I will on the community. So I'm Darian Gavin. My give offer is psychedelic integration. I am trained as a psychedelic assisted therapy professional, psychedelic guide. My ask is support in identifying and applying for planning grants. And my gratitude is I am 4 days back from being in Central Africa, Gabon, and the wealth of visibility that I was able to experience, the like superhuman deeply developed empathy that is present in this village of hundreds of people is like nothing I've experienced before. And I'm eternally grateful for having that opportunity.
That's incredible. Thank you, Darren. And are those real instruments behind you?
Yes, those are dunes. They're an African drum that is often used as the bass tone.
Very cool. Well, next community call, we'll do like a little jam before we dive into sharing.
Okay. Yes.
Awesome.
As many instruments.
In the chat, Tyler asked if Darian, what sort of grants were you asking for support with? Sorry for jumping in, but while we're on the topic.
Thank you. So I need support funding my planning and strategizing. Specifically, Rainbow Alchemy Collective is desirous to take precious plastic model and create small batch recycling spaces. The minimum viable product will be extruded plastic that are beams like dowels that can be used to create geodesic domes for children to climb on. That can also be used for greenhouses. That can also be used for temporary structures, whether it be tents or like shade structures, non-permitted structures. We also have plans for a clothing line called Inhabited that is articles of clothing that are flowy, that provide UV protection, mosquito protection, and have conscious messaging that is like visually communicated in a way that invites people to take a second look, to challenge their assumptions, to challenge the ways that they, what it is that they're seeing upon first look. That's just a snippet.
And where would this project be based? Where would you base it?
Piscataway Land, Baltimore.
So it's not anywhere in Africa. It's just, okay. Not in Gabon. You mentioned Gabon.
Yes, Gabon is where I visited recently. I have, as a part of my training, I went to a pilgrimage there for 3 weeks. I do have future visions and designs to take the recycling, plastics recycling there. I think there's lots of opportunity to create like wooden beams, bricks, and all sorts of things out of the plastic waste that is there. That's a future. I gotta have the money to do it here at home first, or maybe not. I'm open.
Love that. Lana, I saw your hand raised. Would you like to share?
Yes, so I have another meeting at 1, so I wanted to try to hop on here before I have to go. But I was in a group with Iman and Nathan. I'm currently in Florida. Iman is in Beirut, Lebanon, which ironically is where my family is from. And Nathan is from Massachusetts. So we didn't have a chance, all 3 of us, to speak. That's why I apologized for exiting that group early. But I shared with our group that I currently oversee a network in Hylo called the Florida Local Food Network, where I connect farmers, restaurateurs, chefs, and other educators to increase access to local food. I started that network in January as a part of a USDA initiative, United States Department of Agriculture. So it's a 3-year project that we're working on. And I luckily came across Hylo, and my need was just learning from other Hylo facilitators on how to engage people within the network better. I deal with some folks in the industry that are not really tech savvy or are a bit, anxious or hesitant to hop on another platform, another app. So trying to navigate that challenge and barrier. And Iman also shared that she's very new to Hylo and hasn't yet specifically started, but she's doing a eco hub in Beirut. So it's an NGO that is focusing on upcycling, starting an eco bank for currency, really a lot of intriguing initiatives, and she's looking for funding and support, and is wanting to connect with more people that are doing similar things. So I wanted to make sure to share that, and I'm happy to connect with more people. I just joined the community organizers group, so I'm happy to be on this call and hear some more.
Love that, Lana. Salam. I'm from Morocco, so we're neighbors, kind of. But one of the really cool projects I came across recently, called the Cultural Diplomacy Project. They're kind of training chefs to go to different countries and then come back as part of like culinary exchange. So I thought that might be cool and interesting, and very much focused on like local food and working with farmers. So one thing that I love seeing is like how, again, like by sharing our missions and our challenges and needs, like we start to kind of help one another and support each other in this process. And the cool thing about this is the Hylo platform is really the space to continuously do that in between these community calls. So we meet every month, but a lot happens in between. People are meeting one-on-one in groups. They're messaging each other on Hylo. They're commenting. So there's just plenty of resources available. And please reach out to me if I can be supportive in any way, helping make connections or kind of guiding you through the platform if you're having any challenges. I'm really excited about the new design that will be coming this year, hopefully, or next year. And so with that, let's see, anything else? I'm seeing the comments already on the post on the community organizers. So if you haven't joined yet, please do. That's a good way to keep in touch and connect with each other. I will post the link for the next community call, which is in September. And Claire, Tibet, any final words? Oh, we'll take a photo before we go, as we do, as always. So if you don't have your camera on, let's do a quick family photo on the count of 3, 2. Yes. Wait, one more. There's more people who joined suddenly. Okay, 1 second. 3, 2, and yes, we did it. Claire, any final words before we
Just
end up?
thank you. I learned a lot and I'm inspired. Thank you all.
Right.
Beautiful. I'm actually happy to stay on. I'll pause.